Well, hello everybody, welcome. Hey, this video is all about the little details that can really make the sine rule confusing for students. There is a link in the description for these questions that are in a Word document, PDF. You can download them, try them yourself, and then you can go through this. So if you're having a little trouble with the sine rule, this might be a good place to start. So here's the very first question. We have to figure out what goes here where the blue question mark is, what goes here where the red question mark is, so that you could use the sine rule correctly. So basically, what's the setup? So you've got a couple choices, right? So 110's right here. What goes here? Is it side S, side N, side M? And here's the 50-degree angle. So what goes here? Is it S, is it M, or is it N? So pause the video, go ahead and give it a try. Let me know in the comments what you think it is. I'm going to go over the answer and the reasoning right now. So first of all, these are ratios of opposite side to angle. When you're using the sine rule, that's how it goes. So 110 and S, they're opposites. So S would go there, and the opposite of 50 would be N. Hope you got that one right. Makes good sense for you. Let's talk about the next one. It's kind of the same question, but now we're starting with the side and have to figure out what is the angle, right? So you're going to put an angle here that's opposite of G, an angle here that's opposite of H, an angle here that's opposite of K. So your choices are over here. Go ahead and give it a try right now. Go ahead and pause the video and see how that goes. All right, so let's get into what this one is here. So if you have side G, the opposite of G is S. The opposite of H is R, and the opposite of K is P. How'd you do on that one? Let me know in the comment if you got that right, if this is just too easy, this is a cakewalk, or maybe you've learned something so far. All right, now, the last two questions, they're a little trickier. So the first one's got some algebra involved. It says we have to solve this equation for M. Now, that's something you have to do quite frequently when using the sine rule. And the algebra gets a little tricky, so go ahead and write it down right now. And pause the video and give it a try. See how it goes. Because in about 3 seconds, we're going to talk about it. All right. So we have to solve for M. So the first thing we can do is we can get rid of the A. No problem. The A is multiplying. The opposite of multiplication is division. The way you divide is multiply by the reciprocal, especially if you already have a fraction. So we're going to not use the division sign. We're going to do it just like this over here. So we get the sine of M is equal to 2/3 A. It's 2 divided by 3A. All right. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. You have to get M by itself. This is not multiplication. A lot of the time, if you have something in parentheses and something outside of the parentheses, that means multiply, but that is not the case here. This is a function's name, and this is its input. So in order to get rid of it, to get the M by itself, you have to use the inverse function. So you have to take the inverse function of both sides of the equal sign, and you would get arc sine of M, and those kind of undo each other. So all you're left with is M equals arc sine. That's the inverse function of sine of 2/3A. So I hope that one helps you out in the future, because solving for the side, solving for the angle using the sine rule, the algebra does get kind of confusing for some students. So this is going to hopefully get you the right understanding. All right. Last one, we're going to talk about the range of sine. What are the values of A and B that would make this a true statement? Go ahead and give it a shot. Try it now. We're going to talk about it here in about 2 seconds. Well, 1 second. All right, let's dive in. All right, so here's the thing. We can put any angle we want in for theta right here, all right? But we use a little bit of math and magic to figure out what the sine of that angle would be, because sine comes from a right triangle, and a right triangle has a hypotenuse. Sine is the sine of an angle is the ratio of the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse, and since the hypotenuse is the biggest side, we have a small number divided by a big number in that ratio. Now, unit circle can give us like a visual reference. So for example, right here, 30 degrees, the sine is 1/2. You got to remember it's cosine comma sine, right? So if we look at all these y values right here, √3/2 all the way up to 1. Now, this might be a little confusing. That √3/2, what is that, right? So it could be a little confusing as to figure out what number that is. But think about this: if that was root 4 over 2, then it would be equal to 1. So since the square root of 3 is less than the square root of 4, that has to be less than 1. All right. So we keep going and looking at all these y values right here, and if you look, all of them are between -1 and +1. And all the angles in between would be, like if there was 15 degrees over here, it would be between 0. The sine of it would be between 0 and 1/2. So -1 to +1, that's the range. Hey, I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned some stuff from it. The devil's absolutely in the details. Hey, until next time, have a great day.